Episode 4 of Ahsoka starts with our team trapped on the Red Leaf planet. I forget the name of it, but it's kind of cool. It's got an interesting aesthetic to it. There, they're repairing the ship, trying to leave or get the map or whatever, and Ahsoka drops the name. Oh, Thrawn, he's heir to the Empire. Ooh. Just name dropping for the sake of name dropping and letting us know what this is based off of, but it's not going to be as good as the original, of course. By the way, where is Han, Luke, and Leia, especially if you're name dropping heir to the Empire? So the bad guys learn that the good guys are on the planet as well, repairing their ship. So instead of sending your apprentice or yourself, Sith, Dark, whatever you are, Balin, Stevenson's character, which is the only fun character I'm enjoying so far in the show, you send droids to go after them when they've easily taken care of your droids before. But whatever, I'll let it pass. And when the droids show up to the ship, why didn't they just shoot the droid working on the ship to begin with? Instead, they go and have a droid fist fight, which is like, I guess exciting? I don't know. During the fight, and a lot of the fights that I see in the show, action sequences, there's no urgency. There's no sense of, we're going to die, we have to fight for our lives. It's more so like moseying on about, like they're, on the volume, shooting green screen, super, just, I don't know. It just, and then the line delivery as well is so bland, and there's long pauses between, and it's a little more picked up in this episode, but overall this series has been so lackluster in the line delivery, the acting, the urgency, the tension, the stakes. It's not here. So Hera is taking a band of rebels from the New Republic to go and try to stop the bad guys from getting Thrawn back, but Hera decides to bring her son along, which probably isn't the best idea when you're potentially going to fight some bad guys, but you know what? I'll let it slide. There's a moment I'd like to point out here in this fight, which I'd like to also point out, like I said in my first review, the fights are bland and boring. They don't travel, they don't traverse. The camera work is a lot of close-up stuff. These fights are very generic, and there's a moment in the fight where she could have force-pulled her and stabbed Sabine or cut her head off, but she doesn't. It's whatever. Also, this helmet pop-off was really funny. It just shot pew, like a rocket. And did it make a pop sound? I need to re-listen to that. Also, why don't other Mandalorian helmets pop off so easily, especially when it's such a crime to take it off? I've seen a lot of chatter online about this Inquisitor guy. Who is he? Is he a clone of Luke? Is he a Star Killer? Is from the Force Unleashed game? Is he Ezra? No, it doesn't matter. He just gets sliced by Ahsoka, and he, is a gas creature, I guess. He just farts out and goes, and dies and floats away into the wind like a candle in the wind.
Well, see you later.
I said this would happen, potentially. I said maybe they'll just kill him and he's nobody. In my review of episode 1 and 2, I said maybe he'll be a clone. We'll see if he comes back as another cloud monster. I don't know. It just seems like it was thrown in and then thrown away. I don't really care. I don't care about Disney Star Wars too much, so why am I speculating? I wasn't too much. It was mostly the online chatter I saw. Oh, well. Also, Balin is left alone to guard the map. I know the droids have been cut through like candy in this series, but why don't you maybe keep some droids there, or some troops to maybe slow down Ahsoka a little more, I don't know, or whoever's coming. Just a thought, they could bring backup, and then you're just sitting there alone like, uh-oh. Balin says, few have lived to see what he became. But it all seems like the number of Order 66 survivors increases daily with Disney Lucasfilm, so I said this in episode 1 and 2 review, and I've seen it happen in the Obi-Wan show, where there's more Order 66 survivors, and even though I like the EA Star Wars Jedi Survivor game, it's just another survivor. So it just cheapens the whole thing, cheapens the original trilogy, and it cheapens the prequels. I'm not surprised, Disney Star Wars, but whatever. There's so much samurai reference in this show. It's like you can obviously tell Dave Filoni is obsessed with making the Jedi like samurai. George said that they were, based on the Seven Samurai, kind of, but they're based on knights. They're based on a bunch of different things. When you're solely making it on just the samurai, there's, long pauses of we are standing and sizing each other up, which does happen in lightsaber fights, but it's not exciting. It's like a minute or two before they finally fight. It's like, oh, geez, just get on with it already. Also, Balin's apprentice shows back up a little later, and did Ahsoka throw this chick head first into the rock? Is she dead? She should be dead, I think. I think it was his apprentice, I can't remember. Earlier in the episode, Ahsoka asks Sabine if they're left with no choice to destroy the map, because there's no way that they can let Thrawn come back, even if that means sacrificing Ezra. But there's a moment where Baylan knocks Ahsoka off this cliff, and she's given the choice to either destroy the map or give it to Baylan to save Ezra. And obviously, it's so choreographed, you know what's going to happen. She gives the map to him, of course, because she thinks Ezra can be saved. But also, lady, it's been a long time. What if he's dead? What if Thrawn is dead? What? This is such a silly plot. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And making this choice is just to make the choice to have a moment of referencing join me moment in Star Wars, and also to keep the show going and have more stakes, and now she's captured or whatever. And then his apprentice starts choking Sabine. Sabine looks like she's she looks like she's like about to puke from making the decision of giving it back to him, but it's actually her getting force choked. And I'm like thinking, why didn't his apprentice whip out the force choke in their fight earlier in the forest? It would have been pretty convenient, especially how she was losing the upper hand to somebody who's bad force user, according to that robot. The New Republic is so passive and stupid. I'm just over it. When Hera and her rebel squad shows up, they get hyperspaced through by the Eye of Sion. It travels through them, and I feel like it should destroy all the ships that it travels through. I could be wrong, but it feels like the science behind that wasn't too right. I know it's science fiction, but I don't know. It was kind of weird. And of course, Hera's ship survives and a couple other ships blow up. The end of this episode, Ahsoka, you think, has fallen in the water or has died, but of course, doubtful. She actually ends up in the world between worlds, which is from Star Wars Rebels. And it is so stupid. I'm going to say freaking stupid. This is the second time that this chick, Ahsoka, every time she's on the verge of dying when it was fighting Vader and Rebels, and now she gets thrown off a cliff by Baylan in this, she just gets lucky and falls into the world between worlds every frickin' time she's near death. It's stupid. Come on. Are you this desperate to keep your character alive? You gotta fake us out with this? And I have not been a fan of the world between worlds since the beginning of its inception. Time travel is not the best device for storytelling. There's very few series or shows or movies or book, anything that gets time travel right, and include parallel dimensions in that, for that matter. I just don't want it in Star Wars, and it contradicts Star Wars. I like a linear timeline for it, and it just doesn't work. Now, let me just get to it. Anakin's there, and he says, "Hey, Snips." But I guess we'll get some of this answered, hopefully, in the next episode. But if if Anakin Skywalker is there, and this is before he became Darth Vader, I mean, unless this is his Force ghost, didn't look like it. It looked like his normal form from Revenge of the Sith. If Anakin knows how to get here, then why did he never come back as Vader to save his wife? Look, these questions might get answered in the next episode. Maybe this is something else. I'm not going to speculate too much. I'm just going to say I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. And if this is being done just to keep Ahsoka alive through the entire saga, because apparently she's alive in episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, which, are you kidding me? She's once again alive during a big crisis and doesn't help or do anything. This character needed to be dead a long time ago, and yet here she is, just dragging on, like, I'm so over it. Also, the Anakin CGI did not look good. Like, his face, they tried the de-aging, and it looked really, really bad. To me, at least. If you liked it, that's cool. To me, it looked terrible. Compare that to in Kenobi, when they didn't do any de-aging at all. It seems like they took the backlash from that and went a little overboard. Also, if you're using the World Between Worlds to just throw in cameos to get 5 minutes of fame on Twitter without the consequences of it destroying the plot and canon of Star Wars, then screw you. You're not a good storyteller. You're a terrible storyteller if that's the point of this. Honestly, You've lost the game if you're bringing time travel in. You've lost it. I just don't like it. I disagree with it altogether. But if you like it, good for you. By bringing in cameos, they hope you forget about the bad writing that has been plaguing Disney Star Wars as a formula since day one. I, amongst many others, are fed up about it. And it ends there with a member-berry cliffhanger. I will correct something I said in my review of episode 1 and 2. I said in that review it seems like they're setting up this whole show to be Heir to the Empire, but now I feel like they're setting this up as the prequel to Heir to the Empire and Dave Filoni's big super feature movie with The Mandalorian and all this other stuff is going to be the Heir to the Empire movie. I could be wrong. I could be right on my original take, but the thing is,
I don't care.
Who knows if that movie will even happen, or it might even get tossed in the dustbin of other Disney Star Wars canceled movies. Also, they mentioned that Thrawn, if he comes back, is going to be worse than Palpatine, when Palpatine is one of, if not the most tyrannical rulers in Star Wars history. He's basically Space Hitler. I feel they just said Thrawn is more of a threat than Palpatine to raise the stakes for no apparent reason, just for crappy writing purposes. Palpatine is obviously the biggest threat in Disney Star Wars canon because in episode 9...
somehow Palpatine returned.
How is Thrawn a bigger threat when this guy is already basically back and nobody realizes it yet? I'm not a fan of that choice either. I'm not a fan of Disney Star Wars in general. But I'm going to call it out where it is due, and that is poor writing. It's just silly. Stakes for no reason, and it doesn't even add stakes. I'm sitting here like, who cares? I don't care. The ratings show that not a lot of people care. We'll see how this show ends. I think this episode was the best out of the 3 so far, or 4, 1 and 2, where it came out of the same day. I give this one a 6 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for listening. If you liked my video, please give a like. Subscribe. If you're on Rumble, please give a follow and like as well. Comment down below. It helps with the algorithm. God bless you all, and I'll see you all next time here in the Junkyard.